It has occurred to me, but I wouldn't be surprised if it hadn't stood out as a major issue to many people, though it should have, that there exists more than one man, though one man predominantly, namely Elon Musk, who is building the infrastructure for a fully functional robot army, or the dissemination of robotic slave labor to the masses of wantonly indolent Americans. While the constitutional republic stands as a barrier against tyrants, the new technocratic tyranny is being constructed right before our eyes. It is quite ironic, though sadly so, that this man, Elon Musk, his primary reason for building this potentially autonomous artifice of so called intelligence is that someone else might do it first and he will do it better. This is a predominantly fear motivated rationale. What kind of tautological narcissistic arrogant attitude does this somehow inherently espouse? Once the Jews in ancient Egypt were ruled over by a pharaoh. The irony of the doge, meaning duke, leads to an analogy of Trump as king. And we know that the ruling class, has always embedded such linguistic symbolism within their hierarchical display before the masses. Surely, we would think that enslaving humans is indeed so much different from enslaving machines, right? But what genuine Christian would believe this? Are we not endowed with a living spirit, the words from which are to be considered sacred? And are we not in charged to keep our tongue from evil speech, from idolatrous speech, from speech that would make us lazy? And even though we might not take actions against our fellow man as enslavers, would we not then adopt the attitude of the slaver? Is it not the attitude of the enslaver that we should so much fight against? When you receive your robot servants, will you be happy? Will you be more thrilled to do the Lord's work? Will you remember the Lord more clearly when you are telling your robot slave what to do all day? Besides the potentially all consuming potential of having robots occupy the real spaces in our cities, streets, and countrysides as workers, do machines not preoccupy our time enough already on social media? How have our lives become deteriorated by the endless gazing at computer screens? Do we think our robot slaves, sold to us by the Doge of Tesla, will help us escape the imprisonment of our own minds in this slaver attitude? Think really about what America stood for when we stood up against the enslavement, against the segregation, and against the things that didn't make sense. Except this time, there is no law prohibiting us from building our own slaves. So that must mean it's okay. No, it's not okay, and it's going to lead man to the same mental attitude and spiritual descent into which the morally bankrupt slave owner fell. You might not be able to stop people from building these machine workers, but we as human spirits shouldn't enslave ourselves to the mindset of exploiting free labor.